What is happening? John Denton here with another reaction, a long overdue reaction, one that I'm very excited about. Patrons, thank you very much for pushing this one to the top. It's Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor. Guys, if you want to see this in uncut form, you're watching this on YouTube, that's there on the Patreon link, the entire support structure for the channel where all of the revenue for all the reactions gets taken by the labels. So that's how we keep this thing going. And talking about keeping things going, let's go right now.
Corner from 45th and State to the last stand in Henry Horner. J&J's, Harold Chicken, good finger licking.
Much love to you. Yeah. And the star. And your bag. You got your food. And your liquor.
Strings in this bit is just warming you up for something epic, right? And I love the metaphor of the food and liquor. Obviously, the stores being called Food and Liquor in Chicago. But yeah, the good and the bad, the food and the liquor, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, this whole thing, I believe.
Food and liquor. Yeah. My man said he wanted something real. Sometimes can override trust. She said that's why she gave it up. My man said shit is us, that's why. My mama said she wanted something real. I
think the use of guitar and hip-hop beats, it can go either way. I've heard some more recent stuff which has kind of like new metal riffs that really doesn't work, but I think when you get a decent enough lick, it helps drive the beat, and there's so much other stuff going on in this beat that, yeah, it's driving the whole thing.
Fair. Life ain't meant to come around twice. Ring that God gave me flight for my own good, so God gave me plight. If I wake up in the morning, now I got it.
There we go. I mean, I had a dream. Sleep on it. That's why God give you night. I mean, I had a dream that God give me flight to fly for my own good, so God give me plight. And again, God giving him the gifts, God giving him the struggle, the food and liquor. I mean, I'm already seeing the whole pattern for this record, right?
Food and liquor. G-Bo, yeah, man. Dreaming on the wallpaper, happy with the color scheme. Welcome to the crib. A tooth and hold the coming like contracepts. I'm contraceptive content.
We hold the coming like contracepts.
Where my angels set. Painful yet merry, I ain't Jerry Gone.
Contracepticons I kept with conversations. Held a Satan on my shoulder, which led to steps that kept me looking over the shoulder like chauffeurs, but he managed to somehow make chauffeurs rhyme with shoulders.
Oh, homie, low bony, but the rhymes is fat. In fact, just like a Rochester customer, God bless the mothers and younger brothers are hustlers.
Kind of reminds me of early Kanye as well, in the way that the sort of beat is working, the production, I like that.
Criterion that's no different from a young Liberian who let the delirium weary him, living in the inner city out of his mind. Lyrical reconciliation. I'm cool, on foretell.
The lyrics, dude, are just insane. You can just keep going back and back, but it consists of a smile that hurts, an ice grill, and a trace of trauma, a little bit of his father, another criterion that's no different from a young Liberian who let the delirium weary him, living in the inner city out of his mind. Fuck it out. And the depth of some of these bars, what Anjo known as half the battle fighting temptation, have an apple, shakes the snakes, pimp the system. I mean, bringing in the Garden of Eden stuff, liken it to the life on the streets, how he's pulling himself out of a situation to go down this path, the depth of it already. Right, this coming up now is one of my favourite songs ever. I first discovered Lupe Fiasco listening to either MTV2 or MTV Bass back in the day. I think it was on MTV2, bizarrely, which didn't play that much hip-hop back then. And we're talking a long time ago. Heard this song, just fell in love with it straight away. And every single time it came on, I think it was over like a summer break or something like that. I can't even remember, because I feel like it came out earlier than it did, but my memory's hazy. Regardless, I'm just going to enjoy it, vibe out to it, and that's what's going to happen. So there we go.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Lupe Fiasco. Didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped. Landed on his hip and busted his lip. He knew he couldn't doubt it, couldn't understand it. Branded since the first kick flip, he landed.
Just reading there, obviously I know this song, I could probably rap the whole track. But people saying that, oh, it's actually about drug dealing, obviously kick push, Lupe sort of... They said he denied it, but then I read what he said and he didn't specifically deny it either. But even if it's not about that, listening to it and sort of thinking that it's about that gives it a fascinating double meaning that I never really thought about before.
And push and coast.
Yeah, I don't think it's about pushing drugs. I think it's about skateboarding and about growing up. Man, I miss his Neptunes production, man. It just reminds me of being young. Fucking world at my feet.
They call me Lupe, I be your new day. They wanna smell like me, they want my bouquet. It's a little too strong for you to be putting on. Trust me, I say this justly. I went from musty to musky.
This beat's outstanding. You just don't hear beats like this anymore. Come on, Pharrell, we need more beats like this in the world. Like this, clips, his own stuff. But, yeah, just outrageous, like, inner rhymes and syntax in this, mate. Just fucking jokes.
This beat I rhyme off. It's from Thelonious P and Hugo Mind Boss. You know we do it right.
It's pure sauce all the way through. Beat, rhymes, schemes, ideas, the whole concept of the thing about fragrance and luxury and how that ties in with Lupe just as this kind of like elevated higher tier artist, but also the kind of French accordion in the beat as well, making the whole thing seem cosmopolitan, European, French specifically. Very, 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 very nice track.
Yeah, he just sits and watches the people in the boxes. Everything he sees, he absorbs and adopts it. Got it. As the doctors jot it all down with their pens and pencils. The same ones that took away his voice and just left his instrumental like that.
Very Linkin Park, obviously, it says Mike Shinoda on production here. It feels old-fashioned just in the lyrics because obviously it's kind of talking about like television addiction, which, you know, doesn't really exist in the same way in 2020, and this is sort of pre kind of smartphones and everything, and certainly sort of pre-social media just as well. But you'd feel like a sort of updated version of this song would be a bit more specific, but some of those key themes remain. Yeah, solid track, but feels old-fashioned beat, which I like, old-fashioned concept. Obviously, there's nothing he could do about that. It made sense at the time. And still a decent track, but yeah, far from my favourite on the record so far.
I won't let you leave. Father, he's your little boy, and you don't even bother. Like, brother without the aura, and he's starting to harbor. Cool on food for thought, but for you, he's a starver. Starting to use red markers on his work. His teacher said they know he's much smarter, but
you don't even bother, like brother without the R. That's outrageous. My brain would never think of that, and that's just the reality of it. And that's why I don't ever want to try rapping, because if my brain's not capable of thinking that, I don't even want to try. I wouldn't want to do a shit version. I'd only want to do it this good, and that's not going to happen. Clearly.
Enough to hold bottles. He wasn't supposed to get introduced to that. He don't deserve to get used to that. Number one fan, but it's like you born from the stands. You know the world is out to get him, so why don't you give him a chance? It's like I can't.
This one hitting for me in a deep way. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, hitting for me in a deep way.
Tears, let him know he sees. Now I'm fighting in class. Got a note last week to say I might not pass. Ain't so hard. Just breaks my heart when my mama try to provide, and I tell her that ain't your job to be a man. She try to make me understand. I don't know what you want from me. What you want from me.
Beautiful song. I love the fact that it was just the same thing repeated, but from a different perspective. It was, yeah, very affecting, powerful track.
Yeah. Woo. Alright. You know it. Mama said have no fear. Plus I'm already out of my chair. Gather up my ears on my square from here forward. It's nothing right, so here it goes.
The rhymes, man. The rhymes.
starry skies above. Whoa, whoa. Relationship is just 30 minutes long. It's kinda heavy, maybe a little strong. Gonna take much more than once. Can't trust what each of us say, at least for a month.
Genius. And of course I'm on Genius because I wouldn't have got this otherwise, wouldn't I? I'm not going to try and pretend that I would have. Lupe says relationship is just 30 minutes long. It's kind of heavy, maybe a little strong. Going to take much more than once. Can't trust what each of us say for at least a month. And you're thinking, okay, he's just talking about like the first encounter with this woman and all that sort of stuff. And you click on it and it's like, okay, we're 30 minutes into the record. So he's also talking about this relationship with us as the listener, and the girl in question here being his love for hip-hop, his love for music and the music that he's putting out. So he's being self-referential about this very record that he's putting out. It's kind of heavy, maybe a little strong, going to take much more than once. Can't trust what each of us say for at least a month. And you know I always say, as much as first reactions are the shit, to be honest, with music, I love them. I love doing them, I love watching them as well. I'll always caveat it that a lot of these records need many listens. They need time. I remember hearing somebody say something about how music is supposed to hit you like 6 months later when you just happen to hear a song and it means something different to you at that time, and that's absolutely the case. And in fact, that is something about when I do these reactions, and this is something I might make a whole video on actually, when I do these reactions, and other people do these reactions to songs and albums that have been around for a long time, the album carries more than just, well, it's digital now, so the ones and zeros, but you know what I mean? The notes, the bars, the instrumentation, it carries more than that. It carries the weight of expectation. It carries the weight of experience of all the people that have been with it. And then if you're putting that back into the universe in terms of you reacting and you having a first listen to it, you're also carrying the weight of expectation, the weight of understanding, the weight of appreciation of the people watching back in with it. It's what creates a slightly more powerful connection, I think. These reactions of stuff that is older, that has consequence for people, do you know what I mean? That has meaning for people. You can see that with the WEEKND reactions. That you mean it's very different for me to listen to something for the first time. I don't listen to this in a bubble. I listen to this in the appreciation of all the people that have recommended it, of what it's meant for culture, society, how it's changed music. You know, it's difficult to keep all of that in your head all at once, but I do think that is one of the powerful things about these reactions to the older music. Now, obviously, reactions to the new music are slightly different, and you can go back in time and see, oh, where was he at? They're actually a slightly different thing. Although they're all first listen, they're almost a slightly different product. Do you know what I mean? It's just something I spend a lot of time thinking in my own head, can you tell? I know this one.
Daydream. I fell asleep and made the flowers. As I spy from behind my giant robot's eyes, I keep him happy cause I might fall out if he cry in the crackhead's bag. And about the lower leg, there's crooked police that's stationed at the knees. Something to write about. I still got some damage from fighting the White House, just a daydream.
That verse was way too intense. Way too laden with metaphor and simile. And multiple meanings for me to really appreciate it on a first listen, okay? So I'm just going to be honest and open with that. There was depth there the whole way that he was creating a fucking tier and hierarchy within a project building, but also tying that in to his giant robot being a kid. I don't even know. I'm not going to sit here and try and study it as a first listen. Like he says, you need a month with some of these lyrics. I'm just going to acknowledge, I'm going to move on, and I will listen to that again one day and really think about it. But it's a brilliant, outstanding short verse. Amazing.
Now come on everybody, let's make cocaine cool. We need a few more half-naked women up in the pool. Flames, now cue the smoke machines and a simulated rain. But not too loud cause the baby's sleeping. I wonder if it knows what the world is keeping. But I like to thank the streets that drove me crazy, and all the televisions out there that breaks me. I was daydreaming.
So I think this was a single in the UK. It certainly got airplay in the UK. And it's a fucking great track just to listen to because obviously the hook's a classic. And it's just the way the beat works and everything like that and his flow. But then you listen to it, you're like, this is so dense. It's so dense. The second verse is brilliant in a different way. Obviously, you have the kind of ironic sarcasm of the first half of it, but then when he goes into the lower register and kind of whispers the second half of it, is he talking about... Produced by Kanye, okay.
Buried in, similar to the one his grandfather was married in. Yes, he was still fresh to death, blang to earrings, a chain laying on his chest.
Still fresh to death.
It might go fast if you lie. You born, you live, then you die. Every treasure was sunshine, so when some shine through a hole that he had drove, it reflected off the gold and almost made some blind. He grabbed onto some grass and climbed, pulled himself up out of his right hand that was all bones and no reason to stay. He decided to walk home, so this life goes passing you by.
This song's madness. It's a madness. This song, I feel like I need to sit down and like construct an essay around exactly what he's saying here, but just even from a purely storytelling point of view. The structure of it, oh man, some of the fucking lines. What was that one? Working like a reverse archaeologist, except his buried treasure was sunshine. So when sun shined through a hole that he had drove, it reflected off the gold and almost made sun blind. Come on!
If life goes passing you by, don't cry if you're breaking the rules.
Kanye killed that beat. That song was ridiculous. It was an absolute ridiculous track. It was so cinematic as well, but so laden in metaphor. We're reaching masterpiece levels, which I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. We're reaching masterpiece levels, honestly. What an artist, what an album. And the fact, I mean, there's still a fair few songs to go, and including a very long outro, but it's kind of flown by, to be honest.
Stuff. Yeah. Yeah. This one right here. Yep, because the women degraded, but too short made me laugh. Like a hypocrite, I played it. A hypocrite, I stated, though I only recited half. Oh, me up, kept it from in front of our building. Gangsta rap, base filmings became the building blocks for children with leaking ceilings, catching drippings with pots. Tap the world and listen. It dropped. My mom can't feed me. My boy.
Sometimes in life, things are just actually too good. They're actually too good. This is fucking outstanding. That is so easy to listen to, and yet the fucking schemes in it. But sometimes I just gotta go, yeah, it's fucking amazing, right? I can't. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna add to that?
Boycott, cause he said that he never prayed to God, he prayed to Gotti. I'm thinking godly, God me from the ungodly. One thought, what constitutes a prostitute is the pursuit of profit. Then they drop it, the homie in a suit, pat her on the butt and rock it. It seems I was seeing the same scene, adopted. Business is a mind and that nigga pimpin' got it. Woo.
Too much, too fucking much, too much. Theme songs that hustle to seem wrong, but these songs was coming true and it was all becoming cool. I found a condom on the ground that Johns would come into and thought, what constitutes a prostitute in the pursuit of profit? Then they drop it. The fucking hell. The homie in the suit powder butt, they rock it. It seems I was seeing the same scene. Adopt it. I mean, Jesus, man. To be that lyrically brilliant, but also to have that syntax and rhyming, plus the gorgeousness of the beat. What the fuck, man? People don't understand. Timeless music. This is like 15, nearly 15 years old. It's timeless.
Brazilian adolescent disarmament, Israeli occupation, Islamic martyrdom precise. Yeah, laser guided targeting, a priest fondling, preemptive bombing, and Osama and Obama and them. They breaking in my car again, deforestation, and inch wheels like that. They say I'm
fuck off. I'm done. I'm done. I can't even go anywhere. Look, I've got a tiny little space. I can go here. I just need to walk away. I'm done. I can't go anywhere. There's no room. I've got a green screen. I've got a thing down there. I can't move. What the hell? What the fuck? I don't hear this record talked about enough. I know a lot of people talk about Lupe Fiasco. And I was a fan anyway from Kick Push anyway. And a few other tracks that I've heard. Mural's a work of genius. But this... I need to listen to Mural again. Obviously, we did that in Rock Reacts back in the day, and it was mind-blowing. But this has so much more substance than that, I think. I need to listen to that again. This is not far off in terms of the lyricism and the wordplay. But the substance of this, the fucking metaphors, the double meanings, the puzzles that it it creates, it's like a, oh man.
It hurts me so bad. Oh, it hurts me so.
The fucking Jay-Z's on this next track. That was honestly one of the most ingenious songs I've ever heard. A systematic breakdown of issues in the black community, issues in global politics, sort of international relations, Islamophobia, issues within black communities within America, issues within America as a society, irony, confusion, cognitive dissonance, plus a gorgeous instrumental, plus incredible syntax, inner rhyming, wordplay, rap, skill. I may have to put this up as an individual reaction on the channel as well, because I think this song needs its own video. And it's 15 years old, and it still feels so prescient and relevant right now. Don't know what to do with myself after that one, to be honest.
Rockefeller. First then. Buttoning is hustling, and publicly I'm Buddy Lee. There's no busting them and cuffing them. It's like ushering in a regime. They want me to make Prince pants, but I withstand. I ain't gotten into that.
My brain's too blown actually to even start to understand the double meanings and metaphors in here. This is one to sit down with again. But this beat, Jesus, and Jay-Z's coming on this in a minute. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yo, that was just the product of my common sense. I guess I was just guessing like the consonants.
I take the pressure off you.
So the pen is mighty than the sword, my lord. My first picture was a lineup, now I'm on the Forbes. And I still remain an artiste through these all. If you force my hand, I'll be forced to draw. If the war calls for war halls, hope you got enough space on your hall's walls. I make niggas
just leave me alone at this point. I just need to be left alone at this point. This is actually too much for one brain to consume. I still remain an artiste through these all. If you force my hand, I'll be forced to draw. If the war calls for war holes, hope you got enough space on your hall's walls. Honestly, an honour, a privilege and a pleasure to be able to make a video about this album. Ridiculous.
Close your mind, close your eyes, see with your heart. Whatever they wanna tell, whatever they wanna tell, whatever it is. Bust with the seconds running, give you the jitters. Just imagine an American-based Christian organization planning the poison water supplies to bring the second coming quicker. Nigga, they ain't living properly. It is. The more that you wanna learn, the more that you try to learn, the better and better it gets. American.
Ridiculous, outstanding, phenomenal track once again. Just this is one of the best albums I've heard on this journey. No, more needs to be said. It's obvious.
Ooh, black man, nigga, give yellow man tool, make them railroad villa. Also,
and he's brought back the food and liquor stuff. Then made it specific. I can't anymore.
Glocks and ting, give the red man craps. Slot machines, then bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back.
Don't know what to do with myself no more.
I told you I would show up, screaming out FNF till the world blow up. They said I was so finished. I told them in my heart and my soul in it, cause I only fear God. The weapons of the weak, the weakness of the heart. In their ear, so from here up, they hear us. That we only fear God. Know the weapons of the weak. Insane brain, my 32 teeth and 2 feet creep like it's Elm Street, cause I only fear God. Know the weapons of the weak, the weakness of the heart, and I will never sleep.
Just.
Long way from dirty ghetto kids, yeah. Look at what we did. We came a long way from dirty ghetto kids, yeah. cause he knew they wasn't cooking way there. The conks now took him to the crib. And so we kick, push over his shoulders. He's
How? I didn't even know this song existed. This is too genius. I definitely hadn't heard this whole record. I must have just heard Kick Push. Who knows? Doesn't matter.
She swore she never looked, cause wasn't nothing back there but the blacklist. In the park in front of this old bench, they wrote on the back, you thankful push kick. Hope you make a video, the beat is so sick. That's why you kick, push over your shoulders. You swore you never looked.
From what I can understand, the outro track is one of those ones where he just talks about all the credits and everything like that. I'll listen to that in a second, but that song and this record is one of the easiest. I don't score the old records, right? Doesn't feel right. Like I talked about before, there's too much weight going into this. There's too many people's feelings and experiences involved. Not so much feelings, but the weight of experiences. So to me to just jump in and drop scores on things feels a little bit needless. But that is a 10 out of 10 record. To contradict myself, but to be a hypocrite for a second. And easily, comfortably one of the best albums I've done on this journey. Across all of these albums, all of these singles. I mean, just absolutely mind-blowing. Every single element of it. Every single element of it. The only thing that I had anything negative to say, and it wasn't even really negative, was about the song, the instrumental, and that wasn't even the song's fault. It's just the world has changed so much since then, but it still had relevance, and everything else, as much as the world has changed, still has incredible relevance. Hurt Me Soul, one of the best songs I've heard on this journey, and I've heard a lot of songs on this journey from a lot of amazing artists. Outrageous, outstanding, incredible. Right, I will listen to this outro. Don't know how much of that will make it onto the cut reaction. But yeah, I just wanted to add all that stuff there right now. Outro time now. All right. It's nice to shout everyone out, but I mean, another 10 minutes is kind of rough going. I mean, I'm not listening to all of that. That would ruin the album for me, I think. It's nice that you shouted everyone out, but I'm not listening to 12 minutes of that with no beat change. You can get mad at me. I've done that before on the J. Cole one. People got mad at me. I think this one has less in it. I'm not listening to 12 minutes of that. I'm just not. But yeah, like I say, a masterpiece of a record. A masterpiece of a record. Mind-blowing. The sequence from the sequence from Daydreaming to Kick Push 2 is one of the greatest 6-track runs I can ever think of. And there's classics all the way up, man. I think it really finds its form though from there. That's where we really, really go to town. Obviously, Kick Push is one of my favourite songs. I've known that song for a long, long, long time. Kick Push 2 might be better, straight off. The beat's not quite as engaging or warm, but just the lyrics. Relatable in parts, completely unrelatable in other parts, but he paints such pictures and tells such stories that you can't help but be wrapped up in empathy, in relatability, regardless of where you are in life. Listen, I'm an English, white, not Muslim person. I was feeling exactly what he was expressing throughout this record, and that's true artistry for me, and that's how we create community and create union and togetherness, is by being empathetic and understanding, rather than just going, you're not like me, you don't understand, you can never know, or I don't care, that's not my life. I mean, obviously that's how you create division, and division doesn't really help anything, to be honest. I feel a weight of responsibility listening to records like this, but also it's such a pleasure and an honour, like I said, and a privilege to listen to records like this. Thank you very much to everyone on Patreon for suggesting this. If you're new around here and you've seen this on YouTube, please do subscribe. If you want to see this uncut, that's there on the Patreon link, the entire support structure for this YouTube channel. Please do go and click on that, check it out. Tons of extra content on there. Guys, I need to stop now. I'll shut up now. Peace.